The home side were without their first choice centre-back. Aidan Price was injured while Barry Ferguson was suspended. Sligo Rovers were missing Rafael Quintero after he failed a fitness test on a knee injury picked up against Bows, and Keith Foy was sidelined due to a one-match suspension. But Shamrock Rovers got off to the best possible start, taking the lead in the 10th minute. Tyke Purcell, a recent winner of the Player of the Month award for May, was on the mark again for Pat Scully's side, heading past Richard Brush with trademark precision from Ger Rose cross. But Sligo hit back in the 24th minute amid confusion in the Shamrock Rovers defence, but credit the away side for their fluid passing movement. Matthew Judge slid the ball through, and Faradin Kudozovic beat the home side's attempt at an offside trap before finishing past Barry Murphy. Things went from bad to worse for the Hoops just 5 minutes later when Judge put Sligo 2-1 in front with a well-struck shot from outside the box that Murphy could only get his fingertips to. The visitors could have added to their tally before half-time, but some reshuffling by Pat Scully at half-time saw the home side better organised after the break. Shamrock Rovers put themselves back in contention on 65 minutes when the Sligo defence went asleep and Andy Myler found the back of the net after being picked out by Mark Lantry, one of 3 under-21 players featuring in the Hoop side. But the brittle nature of the home side was once again underlined in the lead up to what was to prove the game's winning goal. Just 2 minutes after Shamrock Rovers had equalised, a long ball over the top suggested little danger, but defender Dean Lawrence and goalkeeper Murphy ran into each other, gifting Kudozovic an open goal. The collision between Lawrence and Murphy provided a moment of real concern for the welfare of the Hoops keeper. The match was delayed for 15 minutes as Murphy was treated on the pitch for a neck injury, as medics were reluctant to risk moving him. He was then rushed to hospital as Stephen O'Brien, the former Longford Town and Bows goalkeeper, was introduced for his Hoops debut. Fortunately, it was confirmed today that Murphy's injury is not as serious as initially believed. He underwent an X-ray and a CAT scan. However, doctors have given him the all-clear, and Rovers hope to see him back playing in about 3 weeks' time. The lengthy delay led to 16 minutes of injury time being added on. Scrambles in both penalty areas ensued, but the scoreline didn't change as Shamrock Rovers continued the search for their 25th FAI Cup, but Sligo Rovers deservedly went through, and a decent cup run can't be ruled out now for Paul Cook's side.
I think we've only won one game, so I think looking today that you can win the cup. No, we just want to consolidate our league position. We do not want to be involved in a relegation battle. That's priority at the minute. Certainly anything we get in the cup, it'd be nice to get a home tie, and it'd be nice to get a big crowd at the showgrounds to make everyone smile.
Getting knocked out in the first round is not very good, and it's not acceptable. I thought we started the game quite well. We were playing all right, got a very good goal, and we were basically sticking to what we tried to do, and we just had a mad 20-minute spell in the first half where we just, some of our passing and stuff was suicide, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We made 2 very bad mistakes, gave them 2 goals. I don't know whether the first one was offside, but it was very poor defending. But we done well, to be fair, to get back into it, to get the 2-2 then, and then literally two minutes later, came in. I know you're not allowed to criticise referees, but I don't think our defender jumped on top of Barry Murphy. And what I was very disappointed with was the reaction of the officials to think that they were going to still tip off when Barry Murphy was still lying on the ground. There was at least half a minute before the referee went up to see how the goalkeeper was. If that had been serious as in towards swallowing his tongue or anything like that, you're talking about very, very serious stuff there. So I was very disappointed with how the whole situation was handled, and especially it's one thing for to get knocked out for a goal like that, but also for the safety of the player. I was very, very disappointed, and I was very, very alright as well, because it seemed to be a case of let's just get on with the match, while our goalkeeper was still stretched out on the pitch. So I said, all in all, it was extremely disappointing away to get knocked out of the cup, but what can you do?
What can you do is right, Paul Azam. Pat Scully, not a good night for him. Rovers knocked out of the cup and losing his goalkeeper as well.
Yeah, he'd be bitterly disappointed, Pat. I'm sure he prides himself on the defence of the team, which has been quite good all season. Today they were missing, 2 of their key players at centre back, and he had to reshuffle the side, which wouldn't have helped. And thankfully the injury to Barry Murphy is not as serious as we first thought. So, that's good. That's one good point. Bit of good news for Pat. Excuse me. But he will be bitterly disappointed overall.
You mentioned there that Rovers had to reshuffle at the back with Price and Ferguson out. They're usually very solid at the back. That's the way Pat sets these teams out. But credit to Sligo Rovers, though. They played well, deserved the victory in the end.
They're a good side, Sligo. You know, I've seen them play a few times, and they're extremely good. The first goal is typical of the way Sligo play. They maintain the ball very well in the final third, and they're patient in their build-up. And George has impressed me a lot when I've seen him. He does extremely well in these positions, holding the ball up, turns inside, and he picks out an excellent pass for Kodozovic. As a simple finish for him, for a player of his quality.
The full-back play him on there?
Well, it looks as if the full-back did. I mean, you see that the players in the middle of the goal all rushing out, and one is left in. You know, maybe a bit of a lack of communication with the two boys being out between the back four, because they seem to try to play off, but one lad stayed in. That
was the equaliser, of course, and we're going to look at the match winner. And this was an unfortunate incident here, wasn't it, from a Shamrock Rovers point of view?
It was indeed. Again, Judge wins the header, and you know, I know Pat's was maybe a little bit critical of Kodozovic. Having looked at it a number of times, I don't think you can really pass any blame to him for the injury to the keeper. I think there was a little bit of indecision between the keeper and I think it was Dean Lawrence, and it's just unfortunate. I mean, players collide in situations like that a number of occasions, and they come off okay. But
Pat was critical as well, Paul, of the medical team perhaps there, and that the referee took his time and checking on the goalkeeper.
Well, I wouldn't like them to now to be saving my life if I was struggling, because you know, they're just strolling. No, but I'm serious, because God knows what's wrong with Barry Murphy. Okay, there's a physiotherapist there with him, but he could be in serious trouble. These are medical people who are trained and qualified to deal with serious situations, and they seem to be just strolling over. Like I agree with Pat on that point, because he could have been very seriously injured.
What's your view on that, Paddy?
He should have been sprinted onto the pitch like light, and as soon as anybody, doesn't matter, you know, you just take the chance. You look at the worst scenario, and the worst scenario is that there could be a problem here with Barry Murphy. And the best thing that can happen is that there's not a problem. But until you get there, you don't know what the problem is. So the quicker you get there, the quicker the problem can be alleviated.
He's a top goalkeeper. He's been one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
Well, it wouldn't matter if he was a reserve team goalkeeper. He should be taken care of. Every player on the pitch should be taken care of, and that was quite pathetic to see.
Rovers would have fancied themselves, Paddy, in that before the break they won 3 matches in succession in the league. They were one of the form teams, to be fair to Rovers. They would have fancied themselves against Sligo. They'd beaten them in the league the previous month.
And also the fact that they conceded so few goals until last Saturday night when Sligo hit them for 3. And I would have put my house on Rovers that conceded 3 goals last Saturday, even without Price and Ferguson at the back.
Well, I think, Paddy, if you're missing 2 key players from different areas of the field, it's not so bad, but you're missing 2 centre halves. It's quite difficult.
Sure, but then you would think that a little bit of common sense, especially for the third goal, for the winning goal, would have taken place. That the left back could have pushed in a little bit more, for instance, and the other centre half could have just taken an extra yard back. Always give yourself the extra yard, and if you don't need it, you don't need it. But when you do need it, and it looks very simple, just flick it back to the keeper.
Okay, Paddy, thanks for that.